What happens when royal privilege collides with American straight talk on live television? It only took 11 seconds for Prince Harry to completely lose his composure and storm off Bill Maher's show in what insiders are calling the most explosive talk show meltdown of the year. This is the inside story of how one comment sparked a nuclear reaction that left Hollywood speechless. Last night, millions of viewers witnessed something unprecedented. A member of the British royal family, red-faced and shouting, being escorted off a major television set. The footage is already going viral, but what you didn't see was the full conversation that led to this shocking moment. We have the exclusive details of every word exchanged before the camera stopped rolling. Bill Maher, known for his no-nonsense approach and fearless commentary, had invited Prince Harry onto his show to discuss his recent charitable initiatives. What started as a routine interview quickly spiraled into chaos when Maher dared to ask the questions everyone else was too afraid to voice. The trouble began almost immediately after Harry settled into the guest chair. Maher, with his trademark smirk, opened with what seemed like a simple question. "So Harry, tell me about this new foundation of yours. Another charity to add to the collection?" Harry shifted uncomfortably, his smile already looking forced. "Well, Bill, this isn't just another charity. This is about making real change in the world, something I'm sure you can understand." "Oh, I understand plenty," Maher replied, leaning back in his chair. "What I don't understand is how someone who's never held a real job suddenly becomes an expert on fixing the world's problems." The audience went silent. Harry's jaw tightened visibly. "I think my military service and years of charitable work speak for themselves, Bill." "Your military service, right. Remind me again, how many days did you actually spend in combat zones versus how many photo opportunities?" Harry's voice rose slightly. "That's completely unfair. I served my country with honor." "Hey, I'm not questioning your honor," Maher said, raising his hands innocently. "I'm questioning your qualifications. You grew up in palaces, went to private schools that cost more than most people's houses, and now you're telling working-class Americans how to live their lives?" "I'm not telling anyone how to live their lives." Harry shot back, his British accent becoming more pronounced as his irritation grew. "I'm trying to help people who are struggling." "From your mansion in California," Maher added with a grin. Very relatable. The tension in the studio was thick enough to cut. Harry's hands were clenched in his lap, and his usual practiced composure was starting to crack. "You know what, Bill? I came here in good faith to talk about important issues. But if you just want to make cheap shots..." "Cheap shots?" Maher interrupted. "I'm asking legitimate questions that your PR team usually screens out. When's the last time someone asked you a tough question without bowing first?" Harry's face was turning red now. "That's ridiculous." "Is it though? Let me ask you this. When you decided to leave the royal family, was it because you wanted to make a difference in the world? Or because you couldn't handle the responsibility that came with the privilege?" "How dare you," Harry said, his voice shaking with anger. "You have no idea what my family has been through. The media harassment, the constant scrutiny." "Oh, the media harassment," Maher said, rolling his eyes. "Must be tough having photographers follow you around while you live in luxury. Really puts you in touch with the common man's struggle." "You're being completely unfair," Harry protested, his voice getting louder. "We've dealt with serious issues, real threats. My wife has faced racism and instead of using your platform within the system to fight that racism, you ran away to Hollywood to complain about it on talk shows." Maher cut in. "Very brave." Harry stood up abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. "That's enough. I don't have to sit here and listen to this." "Actually, you do," Maher said calmly, not moving from his position. "You agreed to come on this show. Did you think I was going to throw you softball questions and let you promote your latest project without any pushback?" "I expected basic respect," Harry said through gritted teeth. "Respect is earned, not inherited," Maher replied. "And sitting in an interview complaining about your problems while millions of people are struggling to pay rent doesn't exactly earn you respect points." Harry pointed at Maher, his hand shaking. "You don't know anything about my struggles. You don't know what it's like to lose your mother, to have your entire life scrutinized." "You're right. I don't know what it's like to lose my mother in a car crash," Maher said, his tone softening slightly. "But I do know what it's like to work for everything I have. And I know what it's like to not be able to fall back on a trust fund when things get tough." "This is unbelievable," Harry muttered, pacing now. "I came here to talk about helping people, and you're attacking me personally." "I'm not attacking you personally," Maher said. "I'm pointing out the disconnect between your message and your lifestyle. You want to be seen as a champion of the working class while living like royalty. You can't have it both ways." The audience was dead silent, sensing that something bigger was building. Harry stopped pacing and turned to face Maher directly. My lifestyle? What do you know about my lifestyle? I know you live in a $16 million mansion. I know you fly private jets to climate change conferences. I know you lecture people about inequality while your wife wears jewelry that costs more than most people make in a lifetime. Harry's face was now completely red. Those are private matters. Nothing's private when you're asking for the public's attention and money, Maher replied. You want to be taken seriously as an activist? Then explain how you can talk about wealth inequality with a straight face. Because I'm using my privilege to help others, Harry shouted, finally losing his composure completely. That's what people with advantages are supposed to do. Are you, though? Maher asked quietly. Or are you just trying to stay relevant now that you don't have your royal title to fall back on? That was the moment everything changed. Harry's expression went from angry to furious in an instant. Stay relevant? Harry's voice cracked with rage. Stay relevant? Do you have any idea who you're talking to? And there it was. The mask had finally slipped completely. Maher leaned forward, sensing he had struck gold. Yeah, I know exactly who I'm talking to, Maher said with a slight smile. I'm talking to someone who walked away from the most prestigious family in the world and is now desperately trying to prove he made the right choice. Harry began gesturing wildly with his hands. You think this is about proving something? You think I need to prove anything to you or anyone else? Well, you're here, aren't you? Maher replied calmly. On my show, trying to convince people to care about your causes? If you didn't need to prove anything, you'd be back in England cutting ribbons at hospital openings. I left England because the system is broken, Harry yelled, his voice echoing through the studio. Because people like you make judgments without understanding the truth. The truth? Maher laughed. The truth is you had one of the cushiest jobs in human history and you quit because it was too hard. Now you want sympathy for your tough decision while asking regular people to donate to your charity. Harry slammed his hand on the arm of his chair. That's not what happened, and you know it. Then tell me what happened, Maher challenged. And don't give me the rehearsed answer your publicist wrote. Tell me the real reason you left. Harry opened his mouth to respond, then closed it. He looked around the studio, at the cameras, at the audience, as if suddenly realizing where he was and what was happening. I don't owe you an explanation, he said finally, his voice quieter but still shaking with anger. You're right, you don't owe me anything, Maher agreed. But you owe the people you're asking for money an honest explanation of why they should trust someone who runs away when things get difficult. Runs away? Harry's voice went up an octave. Runs away? I didn't run away from anything. Then what do you call it? Maher pressed. You had responsibilities, people counting on you, and when the press got tough, you moved to California to make Netflix deals. Harry shot up from his chair again, this time knocking over his water glass. The sound of glass hitting the floor made everyone in the studio jump. You have no right, Harry screamed, pointing directly at Maher. No right to sit there and judge decisions you could never understand. Maher didn't flinch. I have every right. You came on my show. You're asking for my audience's attention and money. That gives me the right to ask hard questions. Hard questions? Harry was pacing again, more frantically now. These aren't hard questions. This is character assassination. No, this is accountability, Maher said firmly. Something you're clearly not used to. Harry stopped pacing and stared at Maher with pure hatred in his eyes. You want accountability? Fine. Let's talk about accountability. What have you done for the world? What have you sacrificed? I've worked for everything I have, Maher replied without missing a beat. I didn't inherit my success. I didn't get my job because of who my grandmother is. This is insane, Harry muttered, running his hands through his hair. Absolutely insane. I came here to discuss serious issues, and you're attacking my entire life. I'm asking you to defend your credibility, Maher corrected. If you can't do that, maybe you shouldn't be asking people to follow your lead. Harry's breathing was becoming rapid and shallow. His face was still bright red, and sweat was visible on his forehead despite the studio's air conditioning. My credibility? Harry laughed bitterly. My credibility? I've spent my entire adult life trying to make a difference. I've served in combat. I've raised millions for veterans. You've done charity work while living like a billionaire, Maher interrupted. It's easy to be generous when you're spending other people's money. Other people's money? Harry's voice was approaching a shriek now. What are you talking about? Your foundation, your lifestyle, your security detail, Maher listed. Where do you think that money comes from? Donations? Taxpayers? Your father's estate? When's the last time you spent your own money on anything? Harry stood frozen for a moment, his mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. Then something inside him seemed to snap completely. That's it, he roared. "I'm done with this. This is harassment. This is exactly the kind of treatment that drove us out of England in the first place." "Us?" Maher raised an eyebrow. "Don't drag your wife into this. This is about you and your inability to handle criticism." "Don't you dare mention my wife!" Harry screamed, his voice breaking. "Don't you dare!" The studio was completely silent, except for Harry's heavy breathing. Even the cameramen looked uncomfortable. This had gone far beyond a heated interview into something much more personal and ugly. Maher looked around the studio, then back at Harry. "I think we need to take a break," he said quietly. "No," Harry shouted. "No breaks. You wanted to do this. Let's do this. Let's talk about everything. Let's talk about how you make a living mocking people who are trying to help." "Harry," Maher said, his tone now genuinely concerned, "I think you should sit down and—" "Don't tell me what to do," Harry exploded. "I am sick of people telling me what to do. I am sick of people questioning every decision I make. I am sick of all of it." Harry kicked his chair, sending it sliding across the stage. The audience gasped audibly. This wasn't entertainment anymore. This was a complete meltdown happening in real time on live television. "Security," Maher called out, finally standing up himself. "I think we need security up here." "Security?" Harry laughed maniacally. "You need security? From me? This is rich. This is absolutely rich." Two large security guards appeared from the wings, moving slowly and carefully toward the clearly unstable prince. "Sir," one of them said gently, "we need you to come with us." "I'm not going anywhere," Harry yelled, backing away from them. "This is my interview. I have things to say." "The interview is over," Maher said firmly. "Harry, you need to leave. Now." "You can't kick me off," Harry screamed, his voice now completely hoarse. "You invited me here. I have a right to be here." "Actually, I can and I am," Maher replied. "This is my show, and you're no longer welcome on my stage." The security guards moved closer, and Harry looked around desperately, as if searching for allies in the audience or crew. Finding none, his shoulders sagged slightly, but the anger in his eyes remained. "This is exactly what's wrong with this country," he said, his voice still shaking but quieter now. "No respect for anything or anyone." "Respect goes both ways," Maher said, as the security guards gently but firmly took Harry by the arms. "And throwing tantrums doesn't earn you any." As they led him toward the exit, Harry turned back one final time, his face a mixture of rage and humiliation. "This isn't over," he called out, his voice cracking. "People will hear about this. They'll know what really happened here. They're watching it happen right now," Maher replied, gesturing to the cameras that had captured every second of the meltdown. And with that, Prince Harry was escorted off the stage, leaving behind a stunned audience and a host who looked both satisfied and slightly shaken by what had just transpired. The interview that was supposed to promote charity work had instead revealed the true character of a man who couldn't handle having his privilege questioned. The silence that followed was deafening.